Shalom
You think you're on top of everything, and then no.
No.
Good evening. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
I'm so glad that we can be together in this space to welcome Shabbat. It is that blessed time of years where the day is starting to get longer. Okay, it doesn't really feel like it. I know it still got dark at about 2:30 in the afternoon, but it is getting there.
Thank God.
And it is good to get to be together, bringing the light, bringing the warmth of Shabbat and community into our lives. We are on page 2 in the prayer book that you may find under your seats. Page 2, as we welcome this sacred community with words of Hine Ma Tov. Oh,
Page
that's
10.
page 10. Thank you. Candle blessings, the next prayer, page 2. Wow, it's going to be one of those nights. Page 10, my apologies.
Hinei ma tov u'manayim, Shabbat achim gam yachad. 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 Hinei ma tov u'manayim, Shabbat achim gam
invite you to turn back to page 2 now as we kindle the lights of Shabbat, as we bring that light into this community. Would you be so kind? We were joking before the service. Cantor Kalix wisely asked who we had invited to light candles.
It was me.
And I said, you.
What an honor, Rabbi. Thank you. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, letzivanu lehadlikner shel Shabbat.
And on page 5, if it is comfortable for you to do so, we would invite you to rise as together we welcome the sweetness of Shabbat with words of Kiddush. Baruch atah Adonai,
Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzavanu b'shabbat kodesho, be'ahava uv'ratzon hinchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit, ki hu yom techila lemikrahei kodesh, zecher litziyat Mitzrayim, kivanu v'acharta liotanu kidashta mikol amim v'shabbat kodshecha ve'ahava uv'ratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat. Amen. L'chaim.
Chaim. Please, friends, you are welcome to be seated as we continue with the Psalms of welcoming Shabbat. We're on page 12 in our prayer book, the words of Psalm 95, Lechu Neranena, let us sing joyously to Adonai and raise a shout for our rock and our deliverer.
Lechu neranena l'Adonai, nariya letzor yishenu. Lechu neranena l'Adonai, nariya letzor yishenu. Nekarma vonav betoda bezmirot nariya lo. Ki el gadol Adonai umelech gadol al kol Elohim, asher beyado mechkerei aretz v'tofot harim lo. Asher beyado mechkerei aretz v'tofot harim lo.
We turn our thoughts now to welcoming Shabbat on pages 20 and 21. For our Friday afternoon study group, we saw in the writings of Adine Steinsaltz that joy is a preeminent Jewish value. And instead of sitting back and welcoming Shabbat, waiting for Shabbat to come to them, our ancestors exemplified that spirit of joy by going out to greet Shabbat. And indeed, as we get to the final stanza, on page 21, we ourselves might rise to welcome Shabbat into our midst. Thank God it is Friday, that we might all get a chance to experience that rest of Shabbat. We continue on page 20.
Lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, hishmiyanu el hamiuchad, Adonai echad u'shmo echad, l'shem ultiferet v'litila. Lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, ki mekor haberacha, mirosh mikedem nesucha, sof ma'aseh b'machshava tchila. Lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Hitoreri, ki va'arech kumi ori, uri shir daberi, kevod Adonai alayich nigla. Lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela.
Rise as you are able.
Boi v'shalom ateret ba'ala, gam b'simcha u'b'tzola, toch emunei yam segula. Boi kala, boi chala. Lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela.
As we invite you to turn now to your neighbor, to wish them a Shabbat Shalom, to engage in a light conversation, If you were going to order something from a Chinese restaurant, 'tis the season, what is it you might order?
Oh, the answer is mushu, by the way.
And when you are ready, you are welcome to be seated as we continue our greeting, as we continue our words of welcoming, page 24 with words of Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi-Melech, Malachei HaMlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Bochem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi-Melech, Malachei HaMlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu ni l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi-Melech, Malachei HaMlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzeitichem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi-Melech, Malachei HaMlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
And on the bottom of page 27, entrances to holiness are everywhere. The possibility of ascent is all the time, even at unlikely times and through unlikely places. There is no place on earth without the presence.
Yitzgadol v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'almati v'rachirute v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayeichon v'yameichon, u'b'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael. Bagala, bagala, u'b'zeman kariv, v'yimeru amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevarach, le'alam u'lam me'amaya, yitbarach, yitbarach v'yishtabach, v'yitba'ar v'yitrama v'yitnasei, v'yithadar v'yit'ale v'yithalal, shemir kurisha b'richu, le'ela min kor birchata v'shirata, tush b'chata v'nechemata, da'amira me'alma, v'yimeru amen.
Our Baruch Hu praise on page 28. We invite you to rise again if it is comfortable as we join together in song.
Yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai.
On page 30, our prayer with the onset of evening. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chochma poteach she'arim, uvitvuna mishane itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umsader et hakochavim, b'mishmeroteham barakia kirtzono, borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or, uma'avir yom umevi layla, uma'avdil bein yom uvein layla, Adonai tzivaot shemo, el chai v'kayam, tamid yimloch aleinu leolam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. And on the top of page 33 in the English. As you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me. Did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Pages 34 and 35.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed.
You are welcome to be seated.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavecha v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'beitecha u'b'lechtecha b'derech u'b'shochbecha u'b'kumecha u'kshartam le'ot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot bein einecha u'chtavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'visharecha lema'an tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'hitem kedoshim le'elohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim lihiot lachem le'elohim ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem Amen.
And on pages 40 and 41, sing the song of men and women joined in understanding and respect, the song of God's miracles, an earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generations to come, the song of a land once ravished by war, now quiet and content, her soldiers home to leave no more, the song of a world redeemed, the song of peace.
Ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 mi chama chaba elim Adonai mi kama chane dar Nora tehilot osefele, Nora tehilot osefele. Malchotecha ra'u v'anecha, ukeyayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam, Zeilianu ve'amru, Zeilianu ve'ameru, Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed, Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed. Mi chamacha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamacha nedar b'kodesh, Nora tehilot osefele, Nora tehilot osefele.
It's almost impossible to believe that we are approaching the 3-month mark of adding prayers to this section of our service for the state of Israel and its inhabitants. And yet here we are. We continue with a setting of Hashkivenu, our prayer asking for God's shelter of peace in this broken and troubled world. Those words can be found on page 42 in your prayer book or on the screens before us.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom, l'hamidenu shomreinu l'chayim, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Amen. Shelter us beneath thy wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light. Teach us, God, wrong from right. Amen. 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 Amen.
A piece of contemporary poetry. My son returned from battle, his duffel bursting with things that I had not packed for him. Socks donated by a community in Argentina, a quilted blanket smelling like someone else's home, a blue towel from a family in the Moshav, tzitzit from Jerusalem, a fleece jacket gifted by a high-tech company, a scarf knitted by an elderly lady, undershirts purchased by a paybox group, a sheet that was given to him by a friend, gloves bought by teenage girls, a jacket from the closet of someone who came and requested to give it. I spread out all of these garments and weave together a new coat of many colors. See, Joseph, your brothers were there for you. In comments to the Times of Israel, Mahmoud Habash, the Palestinian Authority's top Sharia law judge, said, and I quote, "We didn't want or need this war. What's the point? Did Hamas imagine that it could win? Yet here we are, living in a world of war, and living in a world where calls for ceasefire have been tragically decoupled from releasing the Israeli citizens held hostage in Gazan tunnels for almost 3 months. I remain devastated by the loss of life in Gaza, even while I hold Hamas mainly responsible. How many deaths will it take? No end of hostilities can be possible while Israeli citizens are held hostage, and this terrible war continues. But with Judge Habash, I ask, not someone I would normally agree with, what is the point? Does Hamas imagine that it could win? When will they have had enough?
How many roads must a man walk down before you can call him a man? Yes, and how many seas must a white dove sail before she sleeps in the sand? Yes, and how many times must the cannonballs fly before they're forever banned? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. How many times must a man look up before he can see the sky? Yes, and how many ears must one man have before he can hear people cry? Yes, and how many days till it take till he knows that too many people have died? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. How many years can a mountain exist before it's washed to the sea? Yes, and how many years can some people exist before they're allowed to be free? Yes, and how many times can a man turn his head, pretending he just doesn't see? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind.
It is not an easy transition back into our prayer book or back into our Shabbat prayers, and how well we have recognized over these 3 months that Shabbat offers us not an escape from this world in which we live, but a chance to rest, a chance to recover, a chance to prepare to face this world again. How much worse we would be if we didn't have that opportunity. So this transition back to page 44 we continue to make, striving to hold that sense of joy as we approach this day that has held our people.
V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam berit olam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam berit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael oti le'olam, oti le'olam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam berit olam. Ki sheishet yamim asa Adonai הארץ ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם וביום השביעי שבת וינפש שבת וינפש שבת וינפש ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
We continue now, page 46, the start of our Shabbat Amidah. If it is comfortable for you to do so, we would again invite you to rise as we join together in prayer.
Adonai sefatai tiftach gufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor Ve'hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, Mekonei Hakol, Ve'zocher Chasdei Avot Ve'imahot, U'mevii Geula Livnei Bneihem, Lema'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Ve'ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayei HaKol Atarav Lehoshia, Mashiv HaRuach Morid HaGashem, Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed, Mechayei HaKol Berachamim Rabim, Samech Noflim Verofei Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishainei Afar, Nichamocha Baal Gevurot, Umida Melach, Melech Mevit, Umechaye, Umatzliach Yeshua, Ve'ne'eman atah lehachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayei hakol, Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, U'kadoshim b'chol yom yehaleluhu chasela, Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el hakadosh.
We continue now with the traditional words through page 60 in our prayer book, adding those prayers that can only come from each of our own hearts. When you have finished your silent prayers this evening, we invite you to be seated.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Ki ata hu melech Adon lechol hashalom, lechol hashalom. Ki ata hu melech Adon lechol hashalom, lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. V'tov beinecha levarech et Amecha Yisrael, et Amecha Yisrael, bechol עת ובכל שעה, בשלומך, בשלומך. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam, Le'olam, Le'olam.
On page 253 in our prayer books, we find Mishaberach Lecholim on page 253. This prayer asks for God's companionship through trying times, times of illness of mind, of body, and of spirit. And if you have friends or loved ones you are thinking of in need of healing this Shabbat, and you are comfortable doing so, we invite you to offer their names at this time.
Charles Winston, Morriston. Jean Royal, Carolyn Royal, and Sarah Buck.
The people of Israel, Gaza, and Ukraine.
Mason Martin, replace it.
Eugene Mahovsky, Francis Williams, John Paul Mahovsky. Jennifer Pickles.
Baruch atah Adonai Rofeh HaCholim. Blessed are you, God, who brings a measure of comfort to all who are ill. And together we say, Amen.
Mishaberach Avoteinu Mekor HaBracha Le'imotenu. May the source of strength who blessed the ones before us help מקור הברכה לאבותינו, bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of the body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
To see the true beauty in this week's Torah portion, I need to take you back a bit. Back before Joseph was in charge of Egypt, before he was rescued from prison for being the spokesperson for God who interpreted Pharaoh's dreams, before he was even in charge of Potiphar's house and wrongly imprisoned, before all of that, his brothers wanted to kill him. Reuben suggested that he be thrown into a pit rather than killed, but one of his brothers suggested he be sold as a slave to the passing Ishmaelites. Do you remember which brother? I heard it. Judah was that brother. We don't really know if Judah was trying to make a bit of money for himself by selling his brother, or if he just couldn't stand the thought of killing him, or if he actually wanted to keep Joseph alive. That's a possibility. But he's the one who played an outsized role in this nefarious story. Together, the brothers then took Joseph's striped tunic, his coat of many colors, and presented it to Jacob as if his son was dead. Judah had a front row seat to his father's pain and suffering, pain that he himself caused. The story of Judah in Genesis then continues in the next chapter, with Judah confronting the same pain that his father knew. His two eldest children, and Onan, themselves died, visiting upon Judah the same immense pain of losing a child that he had brought to Jacob. All right, fast forward now to this week's Torah portion. When Joseph, now in charge of Egypt, fully shaved and redressed and looking like an Egyptian, whose identity was unknown to his brothers who thought he was dead, but were now before him begging for food, when Joseph asks that the youngest favored son of his father be brought to Egypt, we get to see a very different Judah. Earlier Judah, the one who knew not the pain of loss, had no problem inflicting pain upon his father, and we would expect him to do it again, placing Benjamin in harm's way to enrich himself. But older, wiser, more experienced Judah, who himself knew the pain of losing a child, refused the request. "Take me instead," he said, thinking that he would selflessly save Benjamin's life at the expense of his own. He couldn't bring himself to harm his father again. Judah changed. He learned. His own experience of loss caused him to be compassionate to others and not just focused on himself. It's a fitting story for the patriarch who became our namesake, Judaism, and a religion that cares so much not only about learning and growing and repenting, but about helping others. It's what remains our challenge in this difficult world. The temptation tugging at me, as I know it is tugging at many of you, is to circle the wagons when we feel threatened, when it feels like too few are looking out for the needs of the Jewish community. We want to turn inward and wall ourselves off from those groups with whom we may have formerly aligned. and we may well have to do that. But realigning the constellation of our partners to exclude those who traffic in the language of casual anti-Semitism doesn't mean changing our values or changing the causes for which we are willing to work. It just means changing with whom we will work. Like our namesake Judah, the Jewish community knows from the experience of pain, and yet it still believes that our obligation is to learn from it and turn it into compassion rather than hardness. It feels hard right now. It does. But dark times are when our light gets to shine even more brightly. Whether you're volunteering your time and talents over this winter break season, or considering contributing to organizations that may be worthy of your year-end donations, or whether you're simply resting up and recharging to face 2024 anew, don't give up on this world that needs you now more than ever. It's not easy to step forward, as Judah did, but he could, and you can too. Shabbat Shalom. We turn back now in our prayer book as on page 282. On the bottom of the page we find words of Aleinu L'Shabeach. On page 282, as you find your page, we invite you to rise as you are able as we join together in prayer.
Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon hakol, la'lateit gedula li'atzer reshit, shelo asanu kegoyei ha'aratzot, velo samanu kemishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, vegor aleinu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום
Be seated. Our thoughts now turn to those who have departed this earth, members of our congregation, our own loved ones, and those whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. We remember those who came before us, upon whose shoulders we stand as we reach for even greater heights. This Shabbat, we mourn the passing of one laid to rest in recent days, Marilyn Freed. And we observe the period of Shloshim for Bernice Frank, and mark the yahrzeit, the commemoration of the passing of Sadie Baskin, Aaron Cantor, Yetta Kaplan, Nathan Cohen, Sylvia Kramer, John C. Doherty, Betty Friedman, Howard Frumkin, June Getty, Gary Gold, Ida Goodman, Norman Gordon, Gutla Gorecki, Gladys Hershenson, Sarah Hurwitz, Leon Katzman, Jay Keisler, Gerald S. Kimball, Max Mahler, Barbara S. Pace, Albert Phillip Pink, Lillian Podolsky, Edward M. Resnick, Beatrice Routman, Daniel Rubin, Alfred Schneider, Samuel Seidenfeld, J. Harry Serban, Jacob R. Soltz, Marshall Spokane, Robert Trachtenberg, and Sidney Wolkoff. If there are others whom you are remembering this Shabbat, or if I have inadvertently mispronounced the name of a loved one, I would invite you to share their name at this time. Yehei zichronam livracha. May their memory be an everlasting blessing. So we turn to page 294 in our prayer book. I would invite those who are in mourning to rise, and invite everyone to rise in sympathy and in support and solidarity, as on page 294 we affirm words of our Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabba be'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chaye d'chol Beit Yisrael ba'agala v'izman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehei shemei Rabba mevarach le'alam u'lamei amaya Yitvarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemed hudshah b'richu le'la min kol birchata v'shirata tush b'chata v'nechamata damiran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shalama rabba min shemaya V'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Osei shalom mimramav, hu yasei shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. May God, who makes peace in the highest of heavens, make peace for us and for all who mourn. And together we say, Amen. You are welcome to be seated. With a tremendous thank you to all who have joined us in person, as well as those joining us in sacred virtual community, to Marley Lyons for making that possible, as well as the oneg, the nosh that immediately follows. We hope you will join us for a cookie and for a continuation of this sacred community. We invite you to turn now to page 330 in your prayer book. Page 330, our closing words of prayer this evening, Yom Zeh LeYisrael. This is Israel's day of light and joy, a Sabbath of rest.
Yom Zeh LeYisrael, Ora v'simcha. Yom Zeh LeYisrael, Shabbat Menucha. Yom Zeh LeYisrael, Ora v'simcha. Yom Zeh LeYisrael, Shabbat Menucha. Shabbat, Shabbat Menucha, Shabbat Shalom u'mevarach. Shabbat, Shabbat Menucha, Shabbat Shalom u'mevarach. Yom Zeh LeYisrael, Ora v'simcha. Yom Zeh LeYisrael, Shabbat Menucha. Yom Zeh LeYisrael, Ora v'simcha.
Shabbat Shalom.